All right, everybody. Welcome, welcome, welcome to the Rocky Mountain Miracle Center. Thanks for being here on this gorgeous day when you could be out playing, doing something fun. So, way to love yourself by coming here to listen to some healing truth about yourself and welcome you guys online. And as soon as my Facebook thing comes up, I'll turn that on as well. But let's just take a moment and close our eyes and breathe and become present to the now. Let's just take a few deep breaths, allowing your mind to come back home to the present moment. Taking this moment now and seeing it as all there is of time. This moment is it right now. Everything is here. Everything is happening here. All the peace and joy and abundance and safety and security and love and joining and inspiration. It is here right now within me. It's here right now where we are. And we are allowing our minds to come back home to the eternal instant, the golden thread that runs through time into eternity. What does this moment now feel like? What is happening right here in this moment now? And who are you in this instant now? Only now. Not in the past or the future, but now. And just breathe, breathe in the present moment. Remember how good it feels to actually be here right now. And as you tune your awareness, like a dial on a radio, to the frequency and the vibration of this eternal moment now, who are you? How does it feel to be here now? And as you tune in to this present moment, are you alone in this moment? Or when you are tuned into the present moment, do you feel an indwelling spirit? Do you hear the voice for God speaking to you clearly, plainly, and lovingly? Do you feel a presence that is only love? Of Course in Miracles tells us that the voice of God is speaking to us all through the day, all day long. And in the present moment, the voice for love is clear and speaks plainly of its love for you. So in the practice of the holy instant, we practice tuning in to the present moment and feeling the presence and listening for the voice for God that's always speaking to us, always reminding us of our glory, our power, our love. So we say, thank you, Spirit. Thank you for always being there. Thank you for never abandoning me, even when I forget about you. Thank you, Spirit, who dwells within. All right. Okay, guys. Lovely to see you. Hi. Lovely to see you. Okay, well, where we're at today is in the workbook, lesson 107. Truth will correct all errors in my mind. And that's in the workbook.
You said lesson 107?
Yes, in the workbook, lesson 107. All right. I see here, I wrote down, truth will correct all eros in my mind.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, wow. What do you know, Holy Spirit? Always more than I do. Thank God. All right. So I see that I do have my Facebook on. I don't see any comments from YouTube or Facebook yet, but hopefully they'll come in. Okay. So let me turn down this. All right. I love this section because one of the many reasons is because it talks about how to allow the errors in my mind to be corrected for me. I'm all about, you're saying you can correct my errors for me? All right, now we're talking. Okay, Spirit's going to tell you what your error is and correct it for you. And it's all done by truth. So it's going to tell us what corrects all errors in our mind, and all means no exception. Now, what is an error? What is an error? An error is a problem. You know you got some errors when you got some problems. Does anybody have any problems?
One.
It's just a doozy. It's just a big one. And that's what the Course says. You only got one problem, but it's a doozy. And it's the one problem that all the other problems seem to come from. So we're going to be talking about, so this basically this is how to allow all your problems, all of them without exception, to be corrected for you. Now, does that sound like a good deal? It almost sounds too good to be true, except that we're talking about A Course in Miracles. Course in Miracles makes the ultimate offer and actually follows through on it. Like A Course in Miracles says about this curriculum, never was so much given for so little asked. Never. You've never had a better deal offered to you than what A Course in Miracles is offering to you. It's offering you everything for nothing. And it's for real. It's not one of those Facebook gimmicks that so many of us have fallen for. Okay. So it's workbook. It is workbook lesson 107. And the way I came upon this lesson was I went to the random number generator, put in the 3 books of the course. It picked the workbook. Then I put in 365 and it chose lesson 117 and 119, which is a review of 2 lessons. And so then I did random number generator for those 2 lessons and it picked this one. So truly this was picked for Spirit, by Spirit, for all of us. I did not pick this, okay? So if you don't like what it says, don't come to me. You take that up with Spirit, all right? Or just leave.
In love.
In love, of course. And take a brochure on your way out. Okay, so truth will correct all errors in my mind. What can correct illusions, which are errors, which are problems, but the truth? What can correct my problems but the truth? What can correct my problems but the truth? It's a question. And what are errors but illusions which remain unrecognized for what they are? So my error, my problem is something that's not true that I don't recognize as untrue. It's something that's not true that I think is true. Okay, so it's some guilt, fear, separation that I think is true, but it ain't true. And now I'm suffering for it. That an illusion is something that I'm suffering for around something that's not even true. And according to A Course in Miracles, everything you're suffering from is you suffering from something that's not true, but that you think is true. Isn't that good news? You telling me that what I'm suffering from is not really even true. So are you saying I'm suffering for nothing? That's why people don't like A Course in Miracles, because if you want to keep your suffering because it has a payoff for you, then when you hear somebody say, you know, you're suffering for nothing, right? Then we're offended. Like, don't tell me I'm suffering for nothing. No, I wouldn't suffer for nothing. I'm not stupid. Do you think I'm stupid? That's what the ego always asks. Do you think I'm stupid? Do you think I'm stupid? That's what the ego always asks. Somebody who doesn't know the truth always goes, do I look stupid to you? Do you think I'm stupid? That's what the ego always says. Do you think I'm stupid?
And it's like my ego wants to respond.
So an illusion is a problem, is an error from which you are suffering, but inappropriately because you're suffering over something that's not even true. I know that's insulting to my ego, but you know, it says now, but where truth has entered, errors disappear. So if I still got an error, if I still got a problem, that means that I am not listening to truth. I haven't let truth enter. Okay. Now, but when I do allow truth to enter, my problem, that error, it will do what? Will it slowly disintegrate? No, it will disappear. They merely vanish, leaving not a trace by which to remember your problem. Whew-wee. In other words, vanish, poof, it's gone. Not even a trace by which to remember it. And then, and then a little time goes by and you're like, oh yeah, I remember I used to suffer with that problem. I haven't even thought about that problem in years. You just forgot about it. Sometimes I think about some of the problems that when I was experiencing them, I literally thought that they were lifelong. I was suffering with them for so long. And here I am years later going, oh man, I used to suffer with that problem. I forgot about it, So when the truth enters your mind, then the error, the problem vanishes, leaving not even a trace by which to remember that problem. Okay. Now, does that sound like a good deal or what?
I like that.
It's like, instant problem resolution. No, problem be gone.
No PTSD.
That's what A Course in Miracles could be called. Problem be gone.
PTSD.
What'd you say?
With no PTSD.
With no PTSD. Imagine that. Your problem vanishes and no PTSD. Wow. It seems like we got PTSD for all our problems now. I have PTSD from that last relationship. I think all humans have PTSD. I honestly do. I do. All humans have PTSD.
Traumatized.
Just traumatized. I mean, starting at birth, I don't know if I'm sure you don't remember, except unless you're a mother, but birth can be traumatic. The Course in Miracles describes our birth into this dream as we are born into this dream in pain and through pain, and our growth is attended by suffering. That's how A Course in Miracles describes our entrance into the world, our progress through the world, and our exiting the world.
Sounds pleasant.
Pain. There's a theme there. It's called pain. All right. So it says, then your errors and your problems, they are gone, because without belief, they have no life. And so they disappear to nothingness, returning whence they came. That's what happens. From dust to dust, your problems come and go, because only truth remains when the truth comes. Yes.
I was in a sauna the other day, and there were these men talking about words
Mm-hmm.
for some reason.
Mm-hmm.
And the man said, if you take the word believe
Mm-hmm.
and belief,
Mm-hmm.
he said in the middle of that word is the word lie.
I like that. Be lie. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yes, it sure is.
Sorry, but I
like that.
saw that
Be lie.
be lie.
It's like, and that error and the problem is like where you're trying to be a lie.
Mhm.
Yeah. And then I like the word for television, tell lie vision.
Mhm.
All right. Okay. So what we're saying here is that an error is because I have banished the truth from my mind. I'm not thinking about truth. I haven't allowed truth to come in. I'm not having accepted the truth. I'm not listening to the truth. And that's the only condition in which my problem, my error, can exist. But as soon as I allow the truth to come into my mind, as soon as I say, well, let me listen to the truth, or what is the truth? As soon as I start listening to the truth and allowing it to come into my mind, then the error goes away. It vanishes without a trace. It's just like a dark room. You've heard me use this metaphor before. You go into a dark room, the room is full of darkness. You flick on the light switch, and what happens to the darkness? It vanishes, and it's just like that with truth. When you the error, the problem is the darkness, and when you invite in the truth, it immediately lights up the room, and the darkness just vanishes. You don't have to beat the darkness up. It doesn't linger to go slowly. It just vanishes as if it was never there. And that's the way it is with the truth and how it corrects our errors, which is what is manifesting as our problems. Okay, isn't that beautiful? All right, now paragraph 2. Can you imagine what a state of mind without problems is? I know that's not a joke. That's not a joke question. It's asking us if you can imagine what a state of mind without problems, without errors would be. Isn't that an interesting thing it's asking us to do? He says, can you imagine how it would feel to have a state of mind without problems? Okay, so now he's going to help us to imagine this state of mind. So I'm going to read it to you, but at the end of class, I'm actually going to take you through this process where we're going to imagine it. Okay? But so now our teacher is going to show us a way to actually imagine what it would be like to have a state of mind with no problem, no error, no fear, no issue. Now, isn't that a great thing to use your imagination for? Have you ever used your imagination to try to imagine that?
Mhm.
It's like, oh, you mean that would be a great use of our imagination, wouldn't it? Why aren't we using our imagination to imagine peace of mind? Why aren't we using our imagination to imagine the whole world waking up and choosing peace, right? So it's teaching us how we should be using our imagination. And so it says, so try to remember when there was a time, perhaps a minute, maybe even less than a minute. Thank you for saying that. Where nothing came to interrupt your peace, a moment or less when you were certain you were loved and certain you were safe. Then try to picture what it would be like to have that moment be extended to the end of time, which means to eternity. And then let the sense of quiet that you felt be multiplied 100 times and then be multiplied another 100 times. And once you've done that, now you have a hint, not even more than just the faintest intimation of the state your mind will rest in when the truth has come. What a funny exercise. What a funny mental exercise. Now, you're saying let a minute, 60 seconds or less when you actually felt a moment of like free from fear, free from problems. And he says, and now I want you to extend that moment to eternity. And then I want you to multiply it 100 times. And then I want you to multiply that feeling another 100 more. And now you have a hint.
A hint.
Now you have a hint. That's all you have. After you have multiplied that less than 60 seconds apiece, you've multiplied it 1,000,000 times. He said, now you have a hint. Come on. How good must that feel? Can't even imagine. But notice how our teacher is getting us to use our imagination to imagine the state of mind where we don't have problems. And then after you've imagined, you're like, wow, after you've imagined it, then it tells you this is a hint of what you will experience when you have allowed the truth to come into your mind. Wow. Now, is that motivating or what? To me, that motivates me to keep listening to the truth, to keep listening to listen more to the truth. At least to listen to the truth when I'm in the midst of a problem. At least let that be our standard go-to practice. I'm upset. I don't like the way I feel. And so let me listen to the truth, even if I don't believe it, even if I'm not even listening to it, meaning even if my mind is preoccupied with something else, let me have it on in the background. Let me sleep to it. Let me take my problem and read this truth and put my problem into that paragraph. It's reminding us that we have the answer to all of our problems. And it is as simple as allowing the truth to come into our minds. It's that simple. It's that easy. It's that free. It's that free. Wow. This is our liberation from the imprisonment of fear is free. I have to keep reminding myself of that. It's free. Sometimes I won't partake of anything unless it's free. That's how cheap I am. And then
for me, I think, as you're saying, and it sounds so easy,
Mhm.
but you have to do the first step, which is you have to be still.
Mhm. That's
And if you're not still, you can have all this great stuff, but it can't ever come in.
That's right. Exactly. Your mind cannot serve two masters, because mind is not partial, and so your mind can only listen to one teacher, one voice at a time, because your mind is not partial. And then truth is not going to force itself on you. So if you're choosing to listen to the ego, then the truth has to wait, because the truth is loving and it won't force itself upon you if you don't want to listen to it, if you haven't invited it. Now the ego, it will force itself upon you, even though you haven't invited it. It don't care. But spirit is loving, truth is loving, so it has to wait for your invitation. And truth knows that while you're listening to the voice of your ego, that means you don't want to listen to the voice of truth. You don't want the truth. And so you can't, so it is simple and it is easy, except for that we are addicted to the problems and the suffering, but we're in denial about it. We're like, I'm not addicted to my problems. Oh yeah, how come when I tell you there's a better way, you tell me that I'm not being a supportive friend, or how dare I? You're insulted. I tell you, you're suffering for nothing, and you're like, how dare you? You're not my friend. So that's how we know that we're addicted to our problems. We have an addiction to our problems, to our suffering. And so telling us to stop listening to the voice of our ego and only listen to the voice of truth is like telling a junkie, hey, just stop using today, okay? Just stop using and go, go and just go to the spa, It's like the junkie's like, sure. That's what it's like telling us. It's so easy and so simple. Just listen to the truth. Just allow the truth to come in. But we're suffering junkies. We're conflict junkies.
I think using the junkie analogy is perfect. So I've worked with people in recovery for years. And it's fascinating to me that yesterday I was in a play shop on mind magic. And then this is a conversation today, right? Is using the mind and the imagination to imagine peace.
Yes.
And to imagine the way forward. And how does someone who's in recovery recover one experience at a time, right? One successful saying no to the bottle, one successful saying no to the pill.
Or the ego.
And then, right, and then the next, and then there are relapses, and of course they come back and they try again. And so it is a muscle that has to be built.
That's right.
And as you were reading, I was like, okay, let me send this out. I can do this. I didn't do this exercise actually pretty regularly. Let me send it out into infinity. And so I'm sending it out, right? And I hear Spirit say, well, yeah, but infinity's in all directions at the same time. So you haven't even heard what's behind you, right? I'm like projecting it, right?
Nice.
And so that part of our awareness, even as we're doing this, as we're expanding our mindset, is that it doesn't incorporate just what's ahead of us, but it resolves what's behind us.
It's exactly right. That's exactly. The truth corrects our errors retroactively as well as progressively. You know why? Because truth is not bound by time.
Right.
So truth can heal the errors you made in the past. It can heal the errors your forefathers and mothers made in the past. As well as the Course in Miracles says, your truth in your mind can correct the errors that people who haven't even been born yet are going to make. Now, how powerful is that?
That's a major powerful magic there.
That's some serious, it seems like magic, but it's really just miracles. Miracles goes way beyond magic. Right. So.
And they're natural.
And they're natural, exactly. Magic is not natural. Magic is, I'm going to make something happen myself that wasn't there before. That's magic, right? But this is, I'm just going to accept what is. Voila. Truly, when you miracles is when you just align with what is so right now for everybody, and then wow. And then your problems and other people's problems vanish without a trace.
Yeah.
Now that's powerful. That's some powerful stuff. They don't call this a Course in Miracles for nothing. They really don't. Every day I'm like, wow, I see why it's called a Course in Miracles. I'm still discovering that. All right. Great comments, you guys. Okay, so that's an exercise that I'm going to take you through at the end where we really do it, okay? It says, paragraph 3, without illusions, without errors, there could be no fear. Without errors, there could be no doubt. Without errors, there could be no attack. And that's why when truth has come, all pain is over. Why? because there is no room for transitory thoughts and dead ideas to linger in your mind when the truth has come.
Wow.
It's like we were saying earlier, in your mind, you can't have errors and truth at the same time. You know, it's either one or the other. And so when you allow the truth to come in, by definition, all the errors and all their problems go with it. Wow. And I just so beautiful. And it says, when you have allowed the truth to come, truth occupies your mind completely, and truth liberates you from all beliefs in the ephemeral or the superficial when the truth has come. When the truth has come, all beliefs in the superficial have no place because the truth has come, and now all of your errors are nowhere. Hey, where'd my arrows go? Nowhere. They went to the nowhere from which they came. Well, good riddance. And they'll stay there in the nowhere unless you choose to bring them on back into your mind.
So it just occurred to me for the first time when it was using that term, making room,
Yes.
or taking up all the room in my mind, taking up all the space in my mind, that what's required of me is my little willingness to make just a little bit of space in my mind for the truth to come in.
Yes.
And when I fully accept that, all of that space in my mind is filled with the truth.
Exactly. It's almost like, it's like you can't have a little truth in your mind, just like you can't be a little bit pregnant. You know, it's like all or nothing. Why? Because the mind is one. You know, just the mind is one, which means the mind can only follow one master at a time. It can only listen to one voice at a time because the mind is one. The mind is impartial. Isn't that deep? And because truth is everything and errors are nothing, then when you allow the truth to come in, there is no space for anything else. You know, it takes up all the space. It is everything.
And so the follow-up is that if that model that we're discussing now is accurate, then the fact that I go back into pain and back into house because I close my mind to that space and letting the illusions rule once again. So I'm still in the vacillation mode.
That's exactly right. Exactly. And so it's somewhat of an illusion to think of, I can have both truth and illusion in my mind at the same time. No, that's not, according to this, that's not the case, because both truth is a complete thought system and the ego is a complete thought system. And they cannot, because they're so opposite, they cannot occupy the same space at one time. So what our mind is doing is sometimes goes, I choose truth now, and then now I choose ego. Now I choose truth. Now I choose fear. So our mind is vacillating back and forth. It's not that they're both occupying my mind at the same time and fighting. They're not fighting. They're in my mind for possession of my mind. My mind is choosing going back and forth between them.
I recently saw a Heart and Mind Institute thing on the concept of healing. And they said, belief does heal. And we undo the healing when we go check to see if the healing happened. Right? Because, did I broke my toe. I healed to the point that I no longer have a broken toe, but then I remind myself I had a broken toe. So I go to check to see it. And so I bring them back in and reconstruct those memories. And so that's what they say, that what this was saying, and this is so in alignment with that, is that we have to stop going back to check to see if history changed.
Right.
We just have to say it did change and keep going forward.
Exactly. And when you switch into the ego mind, then all that ever was and is in the ego mind, it's like you're experiencing it as all there is. When you go into the ego mind, it's like truth never happened. It's like when you go back into your ego mind, it's like you've forgotten all your truth. Have you ever been in that? We'll start with other people because sometimes it's easier. But just know where we're going with this. Have you ever experienced it with another person who, you know them, they love truth, they love new thought, and then you meet them and they're completely out of their mind. They're the way they're talking, it's like they never heard a word of truth. You ever experienced that? Okay. That's us. Okay. But when you because you can't be in both at the same time, when you go into your ego mind, it's literally like the truth never existed. You don't remember the truth. You don't act like you've ever heard a word of truth in your life. If people would look at you, they would never guess that you are a Course in Miracles student. Right. And that's because when you go into the ego mind, it's complete. The ego is a complete thought system in itself. And it doesn't acknowledge that there's anything outside of it. And then when you go into your right mind, it doesn't acknowledge that anything exists besides it. And so when you're in your right mind, you can't, you don't even remember the ego. They are two complete states of mind that don't overlap. It's just us going back and forth.
Do you ever, when that happens, what I try to do is I go back to the very early lessons and say, nothing I see means anything.
That's the best thing to do.
I'm never upset for the reason that I think I am. I am not a victim of the world I see. Because this is all really great when you're not in the ego mind.
Yeah, it makes sense.
It flips you over there. You have to go back and remind yourself, wait a minute, I am not seeing, nothing in this room means anything.
Exactly.
You have to go right back to lesson 1. Nothing in this room means anything.
Right. Exactly.
And what's so hard about that is you think, okay, I've been doing this forever. Oh my God, here I am again. And you have to have patience and warmth and compassion for yourself.
That's right.
That you're stuck back. The ego has just taken you out again. And go back and just, wait a minute.
Exactly.
And let yourself really know this is the ego, but it's all here for you.
Right.
It's all here.
It's all here. And to me, that's what it means when the Course in Miracles says we're no longer completely insane anymore. We used to be completely insane, but we're not completely insane anymore because at least now we've gone past the 50% remembrance part, where now us here in the room and listening, when we go back into the ego mind, we don't lose all memory of the truth. We're like, okay, I'm insane. Maybe I'll pop in some course or something, maybe I'll go back to class or I'll read that book, I'll go back and read my lesson. That's what it means to say we're not completely insane. It's like we've passed the 50% mark here, where at least now when I go off into my ego and I forget, eventually I'm going to go, maybe I should listen to some course. Maybe that would help. Right. Okay. So we're not wholly insane anymore. We're only partially insane. Yay! And believe me, that's a big accomplishment.
I'm only a little
I'm only a little insane. All right. I am making great progress.
Still completely insane. So
what'd you say?
I said most of the world is still.
That's exactly right. So feel good about your progress.
On the back,
feel good.
Partially.
Exactly. Feel good about your progress for sure. Okay. So then it says, paragraph 4, when truth has come, truth doesn't stay a while to disappear or change to something else. That's because truth does not shift and alter in its form. Truth doesn't come and go to come again. Truth stays exactly as it always was. Truth is there to be depended on in every need and trusted with a perfect trust in all the seeming difficulties and the doubts which the appearances of the world presents engender. All the problems will merely blow away when truth corrects the errors in your mind. Wow, it's quite a promise, eh? Now, there's something I want to say to myself from this paragraph. I want to say to myself back in this paragraph, I want to say to myself, I have something within me that stays as it always was, that I can depend on in every need, that I can trust with a perfect trust in all the seeming difficulties and the doubts with which the appearances of the world engender. I have something like that in me. Come on. That's what we were trying to get other people to be for us. Will you be there for me in all my trials and all my troubles and all my tribulations? Will you promise to come and never leave when I need you?
At 2:30 in the morning.
Whenever. I've been trying to get people to be that dependable. But how'd that turn out? We know. But there is something that we have access to, that when we call to it, it will come and it will stay and it will never leave. And we can depend on it in every single situation and every single problem, no matter what the problem is that the world seems to engender. We can depend on it. And truth is something that when you ask it to come, it's not going to come and then go, I gotta go. I got some other people to save, truth. Are you good? I gotta go. We have something that is that dependable and takes care of and solves every problem, no matter what problem that is, that stays when you call it and doesn't leave, and can be depended on all the time in all the situations. And that's truth. That's what truth is. Wow. It's just waiting for us to call. Call me. Call me. Call him. Call me.
Okay, Henry, help God.
Yes, exactly. 1-800 help me God now. Okay.
It's like Jesus Almighty.
Exactly. I just watched that movie the other day, Greg and I, and we laughed. Bruce Almighty.
Yeah.
And we laughed. It's such a great movie. Such a great movie. All right. Paragraph 5.
It's like the gambling deal, got a gambling problem, call blah, blah.
Yes, exactly. 1-800, call for peace. Call for truth. Truth, don't fail me now. And truth is something that will never fail you. If you call on truth to enter your mind when you are in trouble, it will never fail you. It will be 100% dependable every single. You can't call on truth in vain. You can't call on truth and truth's like, I'm busy. If you'll leave me a message, I'll get back to you. After all the other people that I'm saving.
Well, and your mind will trick you and say, see, it doesn't work.
Right. And your mind and your ego will, it's right. And your ego will say, you don't need truth. You know what's going on.
And then
You know what's happening. You don't need to call on the truth. You know what the truth is. That's what the ego says.
Right.
You know what the truth is, even though you're hopping mad and sad and betrayed and sick and broke. You know what the truth is. You don't need to call on truth. What kind of wimp are you? You don't need, you know the truth, right? That's what the ego will say. You don't need the truth. You know the truth. But if you are not happy and loving and healthy, then you don't know the truth. So don't fall for that lie when the ego says, you don't need to call on truth. You know exactly what's happening here. You know enough to judge. Yeah, except that I don't feel good, ego. Oh, and the ego's like, well, distraction. Okay, the ego doesn't have an answer for that.
The ego doesn't want to die, so it's going to fight.
That's right. That's exactly right. The ego will oppose your release by truth at every angle, every opportunity, every chance that you will give it. Okay. All right. So then it says, not only that, paragraph 5, and when the truth has come into your mind at your request, the truth harbors in its wings the gift of perfect constancy. And the truth brings with it in its wings love, which does not falter in the face of pain, but looks beyond pain steadily and sure. That's what truth brings when you call on truth. First of all, the truth comes with wings. Isn't that beautiful?
Yeah.
Isn't that a beautiful image? Truth comes with wings, and it's harboring in its wings a love that doesn't falter in the face of pain. How about that? Whew. Anybody got some pain going on that you could really use some love that would not falter in the face of that pain? Wow. That's some powerful pain. I mean, some powerful love. Okay. That's what comes when you invite truth. When you call to truth to come into your mind and take the place of your errors. All right. Now, when the truth comes, here is the gift of healing. Because truth needs no defense, and therefore no attack is possible with truth. Now, illusions and problems can be brought to truth to be corrected, but the truth stands far beyond problems, which means the truth cannot be brought to the problems to turn the problems into truth. So that's the process here, is that the problems are brought to truth and they're corrected. It's not we bring the truth to our problems to make the problems real. That's what we've been doing. Bringing our problems, bringing the truth to our problems to make our problems real. This problem is real, because I wouldn't be suffering for nothing, right? I want my problems to be real just so I don't feel like an idiot by suffering for nothing. Because what would you call somebody who is suffering for nothing? What would you say about them?
They're wholly insane.
You say they're insane. You say they're insane. So I'm trying to make my problems. I'm trying to bring, the truth to my problems just so I don't feel stupid for suffering for nothing again.
I think I heard this once and you just said it again. You don't bring truth down.
Right.
You bring problems up.
Exactly. Very good. That's right. That's right. You don't bring truth down, you bring problems up.
Yeah.
Very well said. Very well said. Okay. Paragraph 7, I think. No, 6. Thank you. All right, you guys. That was just a test and you passed. Okay. Okay. Truth does not come and go. Truth doesn't shift nor change in this appearance now and then in that appearance, evading capture and escaping grasp. Truth does not hide. Truth stands in open light, in obvious accessibility. And because of that, it is impossible that anyone could seek for truth truly and would not succeed. Right. The Course in Miracles says that God is not hiding anything from you. God's not hiding the truth. Like, you've heard say, oh, God is a mystery. No one can understand the mysteries of the truth of the universe. And the Course in Miracles is like, God is the truth is open and obvious accessibility for everybody. The truth is not hidden.
That's right.
God does not hide the truth in mysteries, darkened mysteries that you gotta, go the riddle. You gotta solve the riddle. God is not like, you can have the truth if you solve this riddle. Okay. I'm not good at riddles. Truth is, truth is not hiding. Truth is obvious. Truth stands in open light, available to anybody who seeks for truth truly. So good to know that the truth is not mysterious, only for some people. Now, so paragraph 7, today belongs to truth. If you'll give truth its due, then truth will give you your due. And what's your due? You want to know what you deserve? You want to know what your due? Would you like to know that?
Yes, please.
Here you go. You were not meant to suffer and die. That's what you're due. You were not meant to suffer and to die. That's your due. Now, if you give truth its due, then truth will give you your due, which is to not suffer and to not die. Wow. I love it. You give truth its due, it will give you your due. You were not meant to suffer and die. Your Creator wills that suffering and death be gone. Thank you, God. So let truth correct all of your suffering. Let truth correct all your suffering and death. And we're not asking for what we don't have. We're just merely asking for what belongs to us, that we may recognize what belongs to us as our own. So when we're asking for the correction of all of our suffering and our fear of death, we're not asking for something like, oh, please, may I have it? Something that I don't have that doesn't belong to me. I'm just asking for what's already mine. It's already given to me. It's already my own. So I already possess that. So when we're asking for truth to correct our errors, we're not asking for something we don't already have and maybe don't deserve.
May I have my sanity back?
Exactly. Exactly. Recognizing that it's yours. We're not asking that it be given back. We're saying, oh yeah, I just remembered that's all I want. And it's already been given me. And I'm the one who rejected it because I thought maybe suffering would give me something more.
Yeah.
That's the error that we're making. Attack will get me something I want. Suffering will get me something that I want. Somehow fear and suffering attack is somehow going to bring me something more valuable than what the truth would offer me. That's the only reason why we would suffer, is if we thought that attack could get us what we want and would offer us something of more value than what love and truth offers us. That's it. That's the only reason you would choose the ego and the ego's belief system and all the crap that comes with it. As if you were thinking, oh, well, this will give me something love won't give me.
Right.
This will enable me to be right. This will enable me to be special, things that God won't give me.
Right.
Because God only sees one of us. We're like, could you make me a little bit more special than everybody else? And God's like, what are you talking about? There's only one of you there. Oh, okay. So when we're asking that truth correct all of our errors of suffering, we're just asking for what belongs to us, that we may recognize it as our own. All right, paragraph 8. So today we practice on the happy note of certainty, which has been born of truth. The shaky and unsteady footsteps of illusions are not our approach today. We are as certain of success as we are sure we live and hope and breathe and think. Today, we don't doubt that we walk with truth, and we count on truth to enter into all the exercises that we do this day. And all the exercises we do this day is everywhere where you use these ideas when you had been listening to the ego. Okay, that's the exercises for today, where you use these ideas when you're tempted to listen to the ego. So how do we do this practice today? Paragraph 9. Well, you begin to practice this idea today by asking your higher self, who goes with you upon this undertaking, that your higher self be in your awareness as you go with your higher self. That's how you practice today. You are not made of flesh and blood and bone. Period. But you were created by the self same thought which gave the gift of life to your higher self as well. Your higher self is your brother to you. And your higher self, the Christ in you, is so like to you that your creator knows that you are both the same. The Christ in you, your higher self, God knows that y'all are both the same. Okay? That's the goal here, is that we begin identifying with our true self, our spirit self, and accept that our spirit self is our self. It's one self, you know. So that's where we're going with that. And then paragraph 10, it says, it is yourself, your big ass self, that you ask to go with you. And how could yourself, your true self, be absent where you are? Truth will correct all errors in your mind. What's an error in my mind? It's an error in my mind that's telling me that I could be apart from my true self. That's what an error is, that I could be, you know, I'm separate from my true self. I'm flesh, blood, and bone. That's the error that I'm making. I don't recognize and identify with my true self, which is only spirit. I believe that I'm flesh, blood, and bone. That dies. And that needs a lot of food and a lot of everything every day. Now you speak to your true self today, and today you're going to make your pledge to let your true self's function be fulfilled through you. To share your higher self's function is to share its joy. Your higher self's confidence is with you as you say, truth will correct all errors in my mind, and I will rest in truth, in spirit, who is myself. And after you say that, then let your higher self lead you gently to the truth, which will envelop you and give you peace so deep and tranquil that you will return to the familiar world reluctantly. So how do you know when you are listening to your higher self?
You don't want to come back to
You don't want to come back to the fake world. You're like, oh. Very good. You know that you are resting in your true self, your higher self, when peace has enveloped you, when peace envelops you, when you are enveloped in a peace that is so deep and tranquil that you are reluctant to leave that state of mind. You are reluctant to go back to the familiar world. That's how you know. And that's one of the rewards of inviting truth in to correct the errors in your mind. It will envelop you with a peace so deep and tranquil that you will return to the familiar world reluctantly. Because that's how you know. In case you're wondering, well, did I connect with my higher self? Yes.
I just wanted to testimonial to that because that's my typical experience.
Yes.
And I literally do not want to engage in conversation immediately after.
Yes.
I don't want to reestablish the normal pattern of operating in my mind. I just want to stay in the space that I've accessed by that experience.
That's a great example. I feel that way many times after a course class or after, rhythm sanctuary or after meditation or, so many things. But that's how you know that you have indeed invited truth into your mind to correct your errors.
Right.
The truth comes in at your request. It'll never not. and it will envelop you with a peace and tranquility so deep that you will not want to return to the familiar world. So it says, but even though you're experiencing this experience that's so good, so such deep peace and tranquility, you don't want to return to the familiar world, but you will, yet you will be glad to look again upon this world, the familiar world. So I don't really want to come back to the familiar world, but I'm glad to come back to the familiar world. Why? To bring with you the promise of the changes which the truth that goes with you will carry to the world.
Right.
Isn't that beautiful? You know, so it's so beautiful. So it's not like we're going to experience something that's so good that we're like, now I can't even function in the familiar world. You ever been like that, where it's like, I just feel like I'm such a bliss ninny. I feel like I can't even function, you know, in the familiar world. This is saying, no, it's not going to be like that. When you allow the truth to heal the errors, correct the errors in your mind, that you're going to experience such peace and tranquility, but it's not going to make you where you can't function in the familiar world. You're going to be happy to come back to the familiar world, to bring the peace to the world that you experienced, which is exactly what the world most needs.
What I think with that is you can truly heal when you go through that yourself, and you invite it in, and you come back out, and then you look out and you see the chaos and the pain of other people. You want to give what you found, and that's back to giving and receiving are the same. If you give that, then you receive it more.
Exactly.
You
Very good.
receive it more.
That's
It's
right.
not just about you.
That's right. Exactly. And thank you for saying that, because it's true. Because then when you go back into the familiar world and you bring that peace, then that peace that you brought in, now it's stronger within you. Now it's more solid for you. Because exactly. And I'm familiar with the fear that goes, I'm afraid to go beyond the body and experience that peace, because I'm afraid that I'll be useless and I won't want to engage in the familiar world again. And so there's a fear about kind of leaving the world behind and experiencing that peace that is not of this world, you know, thinking that it will make you useless in the familiar world. Well, here's reminding you that's not the way this curriculum goes. It has you go beyond and experience a peace that's not of the world, but then it shows you how to bring it into the familiar world, to not only bring healing into the world, but also to make your peace more solid, where you don't forget it.
There we go.
Where your peace is grounded now.
Yeah,
in faith.
You made it real.
You just made it real. Exactly.
Because you see it being reflected back. Where before there was pain and separation and ego driven. And you get to experience the ego being dissipated in the people you love, because you're giving that instead of what you were giving.
Right.
So then it makes it more real.
Exactly. And more dependable.
And more dependable.
And more dependable for you, where you know you can count on it.
Yeah.
In all situations, in every problem, in every situation. Now you have a peace that doesn't come and go. You can depend on it. And
you can reflect back on the memory of when you do it right.
Yes.
So it makes you stronger, but at the same time, I think sometimes when you're unsteady, that's why you don't want to come back, because you don't feel confident enough.
Right.
You're not confident enough to stand in it yet.
Right. Exactly.
And so you really have to get strong and standing in it first.
And this curriculum shows you exactly how to do that. You know, it teaches you how to do that, how to allow yourself to experience that peace that comes from truth, that is not of this world, but then it shows you how to bring it into the world, share it, so that it's more grounded and dependable for you. Beautiful. All right, last paragraph. Amazing. And so not last paragraph, we're still in paragraph 11 and we're talking about the gifts of peace you're going to bring into the world. And it says, the gifts of peace you're going to bring into the world, they will increase with every gift you give of 5 small minutes. And the errors which surround the world will be corrected as you let them be corrected in your mind. So I'm going to say that again. The errors which surround the world will be corrected as you let the errors be corrected in your mind. So given that the errors that surround the world are corrected when your errors are corrected, since that's the case, don't forget your function for today. Because, you know, the errors that surround the world, they are corrected as the errors in your mind get corrected. So don't forget your function for today. And so what's your function? Well, each time you tell yourself with confidence, truth will correct all errors in your mind, in my mind, then you're speaking for all the world, and you're speaking for Spirit and God, who wants to release the world as God wants to set you free. Wow. Okay, so every time you say this and you allow truth to correct your errors, the errors in your mind, you are doing that for the whole world. You are allowing the correction of all the errors that surround the world. Isn't that beautiful?
It's a pretty valuable function.
And so don't forget your function today. Don't forget your function today, because no pressure, the world's peace depends on it, but no pressure. No pressure, but you are the light of the world.
If you're not careful, if you're not genuine, you can take that and decide, ooh, I can
special.
elevate myself. I'm a savior.
Right.
And your ego could actually attach to that and twist it.
Yes. And then you have another error for truth to correct in your mind.
Right. So the ego can always twist whatever this is. You can always take it and.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And you'll always know when you're in error because you won't like the way you feel. So there's no mystery there.
Or we mirror back.
Or exactly, in an uncomfortable way. Exactly. You don't have to worry that you could deceive yourself with these ideas, because, you know, as soon as you deceive yourself with them, then you'll get the feedback. You'll get the suffering feedback. So, and then you go, oh, suffering equals I have an error in my mind. Oh, and what's the only thing that will correct this suffering error in my mind? The truth. Okay, let me invite the truth in. However I may do that. There's so many ways to do that. All right, so let's do the love offering and some announcements, and then I'm gonna do an integration meditation for about 2 to 3 minutes. And we're doing good on time. It's only 12:15. All right, so one announcement is that on May 3rd, which is this Saturday, Carla and I are doing our second Course in Miracles monthly play shop that we do here. And the theme of this one is developing community. What's the actual title again? Remind me.
Cultivating miracles through community connection.
Cultivating miracles through community connection. So we're going to be talking about the miracles that happen when we join, and how to join more deeply with our community, with others, so that we can experience the miracles that come from joining. That's where miracles come from, joining. Whether it's you joining with others, you joining with your higher self, joining with God, but they come from joining. Remember, the one problem that we have, the one problem is separation. Where all of our problems come from that one problem. Well, then what does that mean? That means the one answer is joining. And so we're going to practice joining and experiencing the miracles that come from joining. And here is...
I do have a sign-up sheet, because I know several people said they were coming. The reservations haven't shown up. So
Okay.
if you are planning on coming, please hit me up and get your name on here.
Yes.
Because we do a workbook and we get food. So we
Yes.
have a count.
And do you have any flyers with you today?
They're on the back.
And on the table, there's flyers for it.
Remind me of the time, it's.
10 to
10 to 3.
Okay.
10 to 3. So
Saturday.
on Saturday, this Saturday.
Maybe it's a furry scurry.
Oh.
I actually volunteer. I mean, I'll be working it, so. Okay.
Where's the furry skirt?
Washington Park.
Oh, cute.
All right.
The dogs come and they
Oh,
get
it's
to
really fun.
Yeah.
Anyway,
All right, you guys.
I wasn't sure on the date.
Okay. Any other announcements? Anything you think of that we need to announce? Okay. All right, that was easy.
There were 3 things. There's some sort of meditation drumming thing? Or,
That's here?
no, that you mentioned it as you were going through your thing about how you connect.
Oh, Rhythm Sanctuary.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I'll tell you after class.
Okay.
Yeah, you would love it.
Yes.
You would love it. We've told you about it before, I remember, but we'll tell you again. Okay. All right, now, who's down for using their imagination to experience a state of mind without problems?
Let's go.
It's like, whoever thought to do that? All right, that's what we're gonna do here. Okay, wonderful. Okay, so I want you to close your eyes and take a breath. All right. So we are going to practice using our imagination to experience a state of mind that we will experience when we invite in the truth, that the truth might correct all the errors in our mind that are producing problems. We're practicing inviting the truth into our minds to replace and correct the errors that we had in our mind that have been producing the suffering. All right, so the first thing we're going to ask ourselves is, can you imagine a state of mind without problems? And then how about we ask this, are you willing for a moment to practice experiencing a state of mind without problems? Are you willing? Now I want you to ask yourself, how would it feel to experience a state of mind without suffering, without problems? Now we're going to try to imagine it. So I want you to try to remember when there was a time, perhaps a minute, maybe even less than a minute, when nothing came to interrupt your peace. A minute or even less when you were certain you were loved and certain that you were safe. Beautiful. Now, try to picture what it would be like to have that moment be extended to the end of time, which means to eternity. When that state of mind of perfect peace feeling loved and safe is all that you are experiencing forever. And now I want you to let that sense of quiet and safety that you felt be multiplied 100 times, and then another 100 more times. And breathe and expand your imagining of this state of mind of safety and peace, expanding, extending on through time and into eternity, when this state of mind of peace and safety is all there is, all that there could be forever. Imagine. Imagine. Imagine feeling this good forever. Imagining feeling this peace and safety forever. And now you have a hint, not more than just the faintest intimation of the state your mind will rest in when the truth has come. So I want you now to invite the truth back into your mind. And if there's a situation in your life that feels like a problem, take this moment to invite the truth to come into your mind in this situation. Tell yourself, in this situation, I only want to listen to the truth. I only want the truth to be in my mind relative to this situation. Truth, come into my mind and correct my errors. And remember, when you invite the truth to come into your mind, you are inviting something to come into your mind that once it comes, it will never leave. It will stay. It will stay and be there where you can depend on it in all situations, all events, all encounters. I am in need of nothing but the truth, and all I want is the truth to enter my mind again. All I want right now is the truth. Truth, come into my mind and correct this error that's been causing suffering. Invite the truth back into your mind. And notice how you feel as you invite the truth to enter your mind and correct your errors. Notice how it feels to do this practice. I am in need of nothing but the truth. I ask for the truth that sets me free. God, what is the truth? I ask for your truth that will correct all errors in my mind. God, what is the truth that will correct this error in my mind? And thank you, God, for the truth that does correct all errors in my mind. Thank you, God. All right, take a deep breath, and when you're ready, bring your awareness back to the room, back to your body. All right. Thank you guys for being here. Thanks for being here, bringing your body here on such a gorgeous day when you could have watched online. We really appreciate it. This really supports the Miracle Center when you come out. Thank you for being here. Appreciate it. And thank you guys for watching. And thank you guys for sharing, subscribing, and sharing this video on your platform as well. Appreciate you.